Hello good people, this is FisherTwelve and we have another exciting Call of Duty esports video for you guys today, as always. And I know it's been a month since our last esports video, but we have a lot to talk about today because we had another stupendous episode of RosterMania with a lot of players switching teams, so that's what we're going to discuss today. And I'm also going to give a little preview into Season 3 of the MLG Pro League. So I have this neat little graphic to showcase the teams and players involved in these roster changes. So let's get right on into it. I would say RosterMania kicked off with the end of the Season 3 relegation tournament with the disbanding of Prophecy. I think that was probably the first move in this RosterMania. And then even though they weren't a part of the relegation tournament, TCM surprisingly released Mad Cat and Envy released TP, Proofy, and Saints. And I believe Proofy was released for personal reasons, so well wishes to him and his family. But shortly after that, Apathy and Saints were picked up by Elevate, which was a little, I would say, a surprising combination of players. Then we reach all the business. Envy announced that they were picking up Aqua, Octane, and JCap. TK released Gunjar and TJ to pick up Theory and Neslo, who were released from Rise, and then Rise picked up Gunjar and TJ. So even though this wasn't an official trade, these four players basically just switched teams. Then we had VVV picking up Felony and Fears in place of Twiz and Killa, who left. And maybe the most surprising move of them all, the most surprising move of this entire RosterMania, was TCM picking up Aches and TP and then moving Shane down to sub. So those were all the roster moves that happened during this RosterMania. I guess you could go back a couple more weeks if you really wanted to and include the Denial and Phase trade. But I would say that this RosterMania was a little more subtle than usual. But still, we had a copious amounts of changes. But needless to say, I know I had said this word a couple times already, but this RosterMania was surprising. I didn't really see any of these moves happening except maybe who Envy was picking up, but I definitely see the logic in these moves afterwards. You know, there's no question why they happened. I'm not sure, though, why TK and Rise didn't trade. I assume, though, TK really wanted to pick up Neslo in Theory since they've been playing well together, and Neslo has a hunger to win right now that is just gargantuan. And then Rise probably picked up the best players that they could, you know, the players that got dropped. And then Aches and TP joining TCM was way in left field. Wasn't expecting them to end up on this team. I wasn't even sure if they would end up on a team for Season 3, but I'm thrilled to see them playing together again. I will say I'm a little curious and maybe a little skeptical to see if they can play as well as they did in previous games, because AW is proving to be a completely different game with full of randomness and whatnot, but I imagine that this pairing is really for Black Ops 3, and this is just going to serve as practice to get that chemistry back together. But now, looking at Season 3, you still have to assume that Optic is the favorite to win, but I think most teams are strong competitors this season, more so than usual, you know? Phased, Nile, Epsilon, Envy, TCM, I think ISO is looking strong as well. Elevate will be a solid team if they can figure out who's going to play the AR role. I've heard they're going to give it to Apathy, but I'm not sure if that's the best decision. I definitely think he should be running an SMG. There's also a new format with the league, with there being half the games, and every team is only going to play each other twice now instead of 4 times. But there's also the new host veto rule, which I think will be really impactful this season, being able to veto a certain host so you can get a better advantage that game. But that's going to be the video I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for new uploads every other day, and make sure to follow me on Twitter as well, at FisherTwelve, same as the channel name, link down in the description below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and take care.